Welcome to Richmond TV's Community Focus. I'm your host, Jason Robbins, and with me today is Jon Moore, City Manager of the City of Richmond, and talk about all the exciting things that are happening this summer over Richmond. How you doing today, Jon?
Good. Thank you for having me, Jason.
You know, I've been driving around and I've noticed that there's been these new recycle bins. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. This spring, when we extended the waste management contract for solid waste collection, Waste Management switched us over to a new recycling program and collection system. They've delivered 64-gallon recycling carts to all of the residential customers in the city of Richmond. That's an increase from the old 18-gallon bins that residents used to have. The benefit to these new bins, one is obviously the larger capacity. The new bins are 64 gallons where the old ones were 18, so residents can put a lot more recycling materials into those. They also have a lid. One of the complaints that we received from residents in the past was the old bins didn't have a lid when neighbors would put them out and have them full of recycling materials. Sometimes the wind would take that paper or cardboard and blow it around the neighborhood. So what Waste Management has found with a lot of their contracts, that when they switch to the 64-gallon containers that have the lid, recycling goes up and participation goes up, which is a good thing. That means less trash going to the landfill. Again, it encourages recycling. Also, the wheeled carts are a little easier for a lot of our residents to get out to the curbside. This switch is going into effect July 19th. The one thing that the Waste Management has switched us to, though, is a bi-weekly collection for recycling only. Yard waste and trash will continue to be picked up every week, but depending on whether you live north or south of Division Road, the new recycling carts will be picked up every other week. Now, the extra capacity allows for residents to just put them out every other week, and there usually isn't a problem with too much recycling. That's.
Now, why don't you remind us what items can be recycled?
Sure. For a full list, obviously you can go to our city website, cityofrichmond.net, and find a nice flyer there. But in general, all kinds of paper, cardboard, plastic, glass, tin cans, also some things, phone books, office paper, junk mail, and pots and pans. So it's really a wide range of items that can be recycled, and these new bins will encourage that.
Now, also driving down Main Street, I've noticed that they've had a new project going on over on Main Street in Monroe. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that now?
Sure. The intersection of Main and Monroe, we had put in some pedestrian bump outs, or are in the process of putting those in. The City Council had approved the use of Community Development Block Grant funds, otherwise known as CDBG funds, to help with this project. The intent of the project was to improve that intersection, the barrier-free access there, also known as ADA. And so we've taken money from the federal government through these CDBG funds, as well as some money from our TIFA, and have installed pedestrian bump outs at this location.
Now, what are the benefits to having these bump outs?
There's two main benefits. The first is pedestrian safety, and then the second is traffic calming. Pedestrian safety is improved because the bump outs extend the curb line out the width of a parked car, and so the actual width of the street that a pedestrian is crossing at this intersection is essentially cut in half. Rather than crossing two travel lanes and two parking lanes worth of street, you're now just crossing those two travel lanes. And so it's a little safer for pedestrians. It gets them out the width of the parked car, and they're still standing on a curbed sidewalk while they're looking to see which way cars are coming. The other thing that does is when a car is turning left at that intersection, the car behind them traveling can't get around that that car turning left, and so it causes a break. This is kind of the second benefit of these, which is a traffic calming. It causes traffic to temporarily be stopped there at that location and causes some gaps. This helps pedestrians get across the street, but it also further up at intersections either direction, a car turning left off of a side street onto Main Street then has that gap that they can turn in.
Okay. Now, let's take a trip over to BB and Stone Street, over in that area. What's going on with the tennis courts?
Tennis courts are being completely resurfaced. Over the past, the drainage has been an issue over there. As new courts were added, proper drainage wasn't installed at that time. So the water getting into the ground underneath the tennis courts has caused some heaving and cracking over the years, and so we needed to come in and redo the courts. This year, what we did was we also went out to bid to install edge drain all the way around all 4 courts, and then in between the 2 sets, the old and the new, as well as connect it to the proper closest drainage basins in the street. And so we'll get a whole new tennis courts, we'll get all new fencing, and also a new paint surface.
Now, isn't there some development happening over at the Historic District?
Yes. Across the street from the Historical Society's area, we recently purchased 3 homes through our Tax Increment Finance Authority, and got a grant to demo those houses. So the Michigan Land Bank actually had state funds that were given to the city to cover the cost of the demolition of those, and we're using that to expand the footprint of Bailey Park. Council's also working with the Historical Society to consider potential uses for that area. There may be some additional historic buildings to kind of create a little street there and more of a historic village. We'll also probably put in some parking over there that can be utilized by all users of the park, including Little League and the city. So events over there will have sufficient parking.
Okay. Now, how is the Pound Road project coming?
Pound Road project is going well. It started earlier this spring, and it's a substantial street improvement project. It included not only resurfacing Pound Road, but installing curb and gutters and sanitary or storm sewer, as well as a new water main. So the water main was going from a 4-inch up to a 8-inch line, and all new water services. And then we're connecting an additional outlet to the Gillette drain for the storm sewer. So you'll see a curb and gutter roadway at the end of this project. And we're hoping that early August that we complete the storm sewer work. And then kind of by the end of August, we'll have all the curb and gutter work wrapped up.
Okay.
With that, we hope to be paving at least the base course of asphalt early in September, with probably a complete project completion date mid-September.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's about it. Again, a lot of our projects and information on programs such as recycling can be found on our website. People can sign up for text messages and emails of important information and events through that. So cityofrichmond.net, and just go there and log in, and you can sign up for those news flashes or emergency alerts. So we always encourage our residents to take advantage of that system and our new website. And with that, I also thank the residents for their patience during a lot of these construction projects. Construction and change is always a little bit disruptive to people's travels or their commute to work, and so we really appreciate everyone has been great this summer with their patience and tolerating our orange barrels out there, and so we just want to thank the residents for their support.
Okay. All right. Thank you, John, very much for being with us today. For all the things that we've talked about on the show, you can visit the City of Richmond website, www.cityofrichmond.net. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click down in the description, and all the links to all the items that we talked about will be there. You can also view us on our YouTube channel, Richmond TV 12, and you can also view us on Comcast Channel 12, Tuesdays at 8 p.m., Fridays at 5 p.m. and 9 p.m., Saturdays at 5 p.m., and Sundays at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.